I may be jinxing myself by doing this video before the transfer window closes, but the season does start on Friday and the Premier League window is already shut. Other than a certain Brazilian in Paris, it looks like Ernesto Valverde's squad is set for the season, at least until January. There are 5 new additions to the Barcelona first team this year, and there are 5 Barcelona B players that I think could be making a few appearances before the season is done. Today we're going to look at the new additions to Barcelona's first team. Well, think of it more like a retrospective of the careers that they've had up to this point. Hi, I'm Dan Hilton, and this is a Barcelona Podcast, YouTube exclusive. We know Antoine Griezmann as the world-beating Atletico Madrid superstar that he has become, but where did he get his start? Fans of La Liga know this pretty well. While playing for local side Macon, the then 13-year-old was discovered by a Real Sociedad scout and moved to Spain. His slight frame kept him from being seen as a top prospect, but nevertheless, he made his La Liga debut as a 19-year-old. More than 200 appearances in the Basque Country later, he made the move to the Spanish capital. His exploits for France, including winning a World Cup, have turned the small boy from Macon into one of the most famous footballers in the world. A Champions League semi-finalist and Nations League finalist over the last year, 22-year-old Frankie de Jong might seem like he's been around forever, but his rise is quite recent. Getting his start at local side ASV Arkel before making the jump to Willem Zweij's youth academy, the central midfielder played with Willem Zweij's youth teams until making the jump to Young Ajax in 2015. Actually, not exactly, as he was loaned back to Willem for the first part of the 2015-16 season. Another few months at Young Ajax after making his return to Amsterdam, and he was ready for the Ajax first team. Well, actually, that's not true either. He played primarily with Young Ajax again for the 2016-17 season, making 4 appearances in the Eredivisie and 4 in the Europa League. Okay, then he broke out in the 2017-18 season, making 26 total appearances and recording 9 assists, albeit playing 14 of the 26 matches at center back. Last season, he took over the defensive midfield spot, and the rest is history. Pretty incredible that a player expected to do such gigantic things at Barcelona this season has only been playing in his primary position at first team level for just 1 season. At 30 years old, there is little secret as to who Norberto Moreno Neto, or Neto for short, is. His reputation has turned into that of a backup, but that hasn't always been the case. You don't get to the top level as a backup. He played for Brazilian powerhouse Cruzeiro at youth level before making the switch and working his way up to the Atletico PR system. He made 36 appearances in 2 seasons before he was lured to Italy to play for Fiorentina in 2011. He made 111 appearances for the Viola, collecting 34 clean sheets in his time in Florence. In 2015, Juventus came calling, and much like we've seen recently with the Serie A powerhouse, they got the keeper on a free transfer. He served as the backup in Turin, only making 22 appearances in 2 years. A move to Valencia in 2017 got his career back on track though, as he would only concede 82 goals and 80 showings for the Liga side, an impressive mark. During that time, he made his only appearance to date for Brazil in September of 2018 in a friendly against El Salvador, even though he has been getting call-ups to the squad since 2010. He comes to Barcelona to serve as Ter Stegen's backup, and unfortunately he has suffered an early injury that will keep him out for the start of the season. But having replaced Jasper Cillessen, even the role of backup goalkeeper gives him some big shoes to fill when he returns. Junior Firpo is the first Dominican Republic-born player to play for Barcelona's first team, and while he was born in North America, he represents Spain at international level, becoming a European champion with the U21s over the summer. He began his career moving to Malaga at the age of 6 and playing for local sides Atletico Benamiel, Tiro Pichon, Puerto Malagueno. He moved to Real Betis's Juvenil A side in 2014 and finally broke into the first team in 2018. Having played as a left back for Betis's youth systems, he found minutes by playing all over the field for the first team. He had been playing center back for most of Betis B's matches at the end of the 2017 season, but switched to primarily play left midfield in his debut campaign in the Liga, with 3 appearances at center back and 2 appearances at left back. Last season, he played primarily on the left wing as he thrived in Quique Setien's system. In his only appearance against Barcelona, he scored a goal and provided an assist in that shocking 4-3 thriller last season, a win for Betis. The now 22-year-old proved to be pretty important to the Lily Whites as a hamstring injury that lasted from December to April coincided with Betis's dip in form and elimination from the Copa del Rey. Like Neto and the next guy on our list, he's the backup at his position. He'll be playing primarily left back, we'd assume, and he'll be brought along slowly as Jordi Alba plays the majority of matches. Moussa Wagué can say something a lot of other guys on this list aside from Antoine Griezmann can't say. He started in a World Cup. If you want to take Griezmann off that list, make it that he started as a teenager. The now 20-year-old kind of came out of nowhere as a graduate of the Aspire Academy in Qatar. The Aspire Academy and the relationship with young African footballers is certainly a topic for another time, but for now, let's just know that by the time he made the move on a free transfer to Belgian side KAS Eupen, a club that is also affiliated with the Aspire Academy, the Senegalese right back was already pretty well traveled and had played the sport on 3 different continents by the age of 18. He made 43 appearances in Belgium, the majority at right back, and scored 1 goal with 4 assists in his year and a half there. Barcelona brought him to Barcelona B last season for €5 million after a somewhat successful showing in the World Cup, where the Sadio Mane-led Senegal went out of the group stage by the slim margins. He made 20 appearances last year with Barcelona B with 2 goals and 3 assists, and he also made his first team debut against Huesca in April, going the full 90 against both the relegated side and Celta de Vigo, and a 45-minute stint against Eibar. He's a permanent member of the first team now, and with Sergio Roberto supposedly in the midfield, it's a wonder how much run-out Wagué will get behind Nelson Semedo. Coming to La Masia in 2013 from boyhood club UFB Habak Teresa, where his father played as a left-back, Riqui Puig has only really been seen as a top teenager for the last 2 or 3 seasons. He was playing in La Masia as a false 9 before being shifted into a midfield role. His move into midfield worked wonderfully, and he used a dazzling showing 2 seasons ago in the UEFA Youth League to put himself on the map. My thinking is that he'll follow a similar progression this season that Carlos Alenya did last year, playing with Barcelona B for the fall and then making the move up to the first team in January if players have been injured or leave during the winter window. Recent reports indicate that a loan is also possible, as unfortunate as that may be. 21-year-old winger Carlos Perez, who is currently being compared to a long-standing Barcelona player Pedro, was born in Granollers in Catalonia and played for local sides CF Vilanova de la Roca and CF Dam. He moved to Espanyol where he played for 4 seasons, joining up with Cadet A in La Masia in 2012. He made his La Liga debut last year in the spring, and though he dealt with some injuries, he still made 26 appearances for Barcelona B, scoring 9 goals with 4 assists. His future is directly tied to Neymar, Coutinho, and the health of Dembélé. If any of Neymar coming, Coutinho staying, or Dembélé completely healthy happens, the Catalan may not be seen at first team level this season. Álvaro Ruiz came to La Masia at the age of 12 from Valencia's youth academy. His debut for Barcelona B in 2017 made him the first player born in the 2000s to play for one of Barcelona's senior teams. The striker's international accomplishments are well known, as he is a regular fixture in a Spanish generation that has taken home both the U19 and the U17 European Championships, with the U19 title coming just last month with Álvaro Ruiz as team captain. The only issue the 19-year-old has is that goals have seemingly dried up at club level. He scored just 3 goals last season for Barcelona B, and aside from breaking through an all-world attack that includes Luis Suarez, Griezmann, Lionel Messi, and Dembélé, his future depends on whether or not he can start putting the ball in the back of the net. A loan is still not out of the question. Speaking of loans not being out of the question, 20-year-old Alex Callado, who played on the wing in the preseason tour, is a central midfielder who is way down the depth chart at both positions. He came to La Masia from Espanyol, having started his career with local side Gimnàstic Mercantil. He has tons of quality, and it could be argued that he was Barcelona B's most important player last season, but I don't know where first-team minutes come from. His showings last year with the B team earned him a first-team start on the wing in a loss to Celta de Vigo in May, and if he doesn't go out on loan, there may be some deja vu for the player this year. Of the Barcelona B players, Iñaki Peña's upcoming season is the most set in stone. Peña is from Alicante in the southern region of the Valencian community. He began at local club Alicante CF before moving to Villarreal in 2009. In 2015, he moved to La Masia and immediately became Barcelona's best goalkeeping prospect in some time, maybe since Victor Valdez came through. He'll be the undisputed starter for Barcelona B, and the 20-year-old will certainly start more than the 20 times he did last season. If Ter Stegen or Neto is injured, as Neto is now, or Ter Stegen gets a rest on an away trip later in the season, Peña will be the backup goalkeeper for the first team. He didn't make his Copa del Rey debut yet, but Neto's limited role with the first team will make it difficult for this change for the young goalkeeper. His contract runs through 2021, so let's revisit this next season. The window isn't closed in Spain just yet, and even though all of these players will start the season in a Blaugrana uniform, any of the Barcelona B players outside of Iñaki Peña that we mentioned could be loaned out or sold before the end of August. Either way, I hope you liked what we put together as we looked at the new additions to Barcelona's first team, and if you like this video, keep checking this channel for more videos like it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, Força Barça!